Hello everybody, welcome to the Leaf Heart Path. I appreciate you being here with me today. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Andrea Graham. I am an intuitive healer, a Reiki and cord cutting practitioner, and a tarot card reader. I offer a variety of related services which are available by following the link to my Etsy shop in the description box below. We all have a spirit team with guides who come and go throughout our lives. Some are with us for our entire journey, and others pop in during times when we need a boost for a period of time. I'm excited to introduce you to one of your animal guides today. We'll take a look at the unique guidance that this animal guide provides, symbols or signs that they are communicating with you, and any details that may come through about their appearance, as well as any other messages that they would like to share. As with all pick-a-card readings, please remember that this is general. Not everything here will resonate with you 100% of the time. It may be that I describe a guide that feels right for you, but perhaps the actual animal itself does not. So go with your gut and it won't lead you astray. Take the most important messages that are coming through today and leave the rest for others. Before we hop into the cards, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads. If you enjoy pick-a-card readings, I tend to upload a new video about once a week. If there is a video topic that you're interested in seeing, please don't hesitate to post in the comment box below. I pick topics intuitively, but I am always looking to add new suggestions to the list. And when the time is right, the video will be made. So please take a moment to like this video if it resonates, and let us know what resonates for you in the comment box. And pass this video along if you feel a friend or a family member may enjoy it. Okay, friends, let's take a look at the piles we have here today. Take a moment, center yourself, take some deep breaths, and see which pile that you're drawn to the most here. We are going to be choosing from 4 piles today. Group 1 is marked with this clear glass bird. Group 2, we have a sculpted glass critter. Doesn't really have a name. It sort of looks like a little snowman. And we've got some little bubble eyes in the middle and their cat ears at the top. Group 3, we have a rose quartz with a painted black bear silhouette. And group 4 is topped with a small metal sculpture of a mouse with a twisty tail. So you can pause the video should you need a little more time to choose. Timestamps and chapters are listed in the description box at the bottom of the video. I'll see you over in your video. Bye, friends. Welcome, Group 1. This is your animal guide reading. If you picked the green glass bird, then you are in the right place. Welcome. Okay, friends. What we're going to do today is look at one particular animal guide for you. We're going to examine their type of unique guidance, or those times in your life that they step in a bit closer to you. We'll also take a look to see if there's anything unique about this guide, or any signs that they may be near, or that they may use to communicate with you. And then finally, we'll toss in some advice for you that they may have at this particular time. So we are going to hop right into things. Put those cards over here for now. We're going to start with our tarot. So right off the bat, we have the Ace of Pentacles. Oh, I hear some crows outside. I don't know if you can hear those. Rather loud. That might be a sign. Oh, there we are. The Three of Cups. That was perfect timing. And, oh my gosh, look at this, the Fool. Okay. Scoot you over a little bit. So, what I'm seeing here, Group 1, is we have this mixture of new growth, and we also have an older energy as well. So to me, this may be a guide who's there as a transition between cycles, the ending of one phase of life or rite of passage, and then the start of the next. So I'm really drawn here to what we're seeing on the Ace of Pentacles. And as we're using the Wild Unknown Tarot, we have a lot of nature things happening here. And what we see is a cross section of a tree trunk. And there are so many little rings that we're seeing all around here, which is showing the age of this particular tree. And then this red center that we have with a little bit of yellow in the middle, and then we have these cracks running through it, which makes it look like a pentacle or a little star at the center. That strikes me as being old at the same time as we have these new leaves growing around the outside of the trunk, new little branches. And so we have an oldness here, but we also have a newness. And I think this just symbolizes to me what's coming through is that we continue to grow no matter where we are in our lives, should we choose to embrace that growth. Both the Ace of Pentacles and we also have the Fool card here speak to new beginnings. And while the Fool is striking me as a spring card because we have this adorable little fledgling on it, this little duckling, this little chick that's on a branch, and the branch has got some little flowers, spring blooms. Yeah, and we also have the Three of Cups, and 3 is not a high number. It is showing a camaraderie here with the 3 birds on a branch, their silhouettes, and we have a sunset behind them. And that card always reminds me of just enjoying a beverage on a summer evening with like a close friend or with your loved ones. The sunset is the twilight of the day, it's its ending. And so we have old and new again on the Ace of Pentacles, we've got new growth with the Fool, and then I see this camaraderie card, this Three of Cups card, as more of a sunset or an ending card, even though it is a lower number. So the camaraderie is what's really hitting me here. Plus this is in the center of our other 2 cards in the placement. And so that seems to be very important, group 1. I think this guide has been with you for a very long time. I'm not getting that this is a new energy for you, but that they've always been there and they will continue to be there for you during any types of transitional moments as we've been talking about here. They're like the parent that's coming in to help the nestling grow and to help the fledgling flyer swim. They give you space as you progress and grow. They are the parent that's holding you steady as you pedal your legs and you haven't realized yet that you're riding your bike without training wheels and that they've let go of your bicycle. You're balancing on your own. You're moving under your own power. And even if you fall, they will be there to help you all over again. When I tap into this feeling, it is huge. There's a very, very big energy, group 1, and presence, and they feel incredibly steady, very dependable, very reliable. And also these colors, notice how they're repeating here. We have reds and yellows as we talked about on the Ace of Pentacles. We have reds, oranges, and yellows as sort of our sunset colors on the Three of Cups. And then we have yellow in the background of the Fool there. And so those colors, red, orange, or yellow, may be significant for you. It may mean something in relation to this particular guide. It could also be talking about those 3 bottom chakras in our main chakra system. We have the root, the solar plexus, and the sacral. That may mean something to you as well. And again, that always takes me back when I think of those 3 chakras, I'm thinking more of longer term. It always takes me back to childhood. So the other thought is too that this is some kind of avian guide or bird, since we have got 1, 2, 3 birds on the Three of Cups, and then we have another bird on the Fool card. We also heard the crows, at least I heard the crows earlier when we were starting the video. So this could be an avian guide for you or a bird type of guide, since we've got 4 birds all together. And we also have trees on all 3 of the cards as well, whether trunks or branches. Okay, let's add a little more to this, see what else we get here. That's my cat jumping around. He's probably wondering where the birds are. We're going to get an Archetype card here. So this is from the Wild Unknown Archetype deck, and this is the crone. And what we have here is it looks like an older hand that is grasping a crow or holding a crow in its hand. The crow is looking off, and the crow is perched on what looks like some kind of coin. And then it's kind of a dark, smoky background. So again, another bird. So we definitely have some of the themes here as well that we've been already talking about. So right off the bat, obviously, this could be some kind of avian or bird guide. The number 3 may also be very important to you. And then also, we were talking about this guide helping you through transitions, as we have kind of the energy of old things and new things, and we've got the crone here as well. So let's jump back into that first point. We're talking about birds again. This could be a corvid type if we want to get specific. So jays, magpies. Actually, this is a blue jay feather, come to think of it. I don't know if you can see that little guy there. Ravens, or anything that even looks like that. The 3 of Cups here, the silhouetted birds we were talking about earlier, make me think of blackbirds of any kind, in addition to what we've already mentioned. So maybe grackles or starlings. I think, what are they, Eurasian blackbirds? And, you know, this little chick here could be a duckling, a chick, or it really could signify any bird at all. Because this is more about, I think, that fledgling energy, that youth, new beginnings, growth. So if you're somebody and that's not resonating, but you really like pelicans, or you're drawn to cardinals or toucans, you know, that can be your guide too. It really doesn't matter. It's about the resonance for you. So seeing these bird types also as you go about your day may be a sign from this guide, and that doesn't have to be the literal bird itself, obviously. If you're living in a warmer climate, in a tropical place, you're probably not going to see a cardinal there. But it could be a picture. It could be something from a movie. You could see something in an advertisement. You could hear their call similarly somewhere. Or there could even be a song. Yeah, what is it, the Beatles song, Blackbird? That's kind of popping in my head there. So let's talk about numbers 2. We have the Fool and we have the Ace of Pentacles, which represent beginnings and the start of cycles. We also have the number 3 here with the 3 of Cups. And this crone card is the number 13, which is going to reduce to 3. So 3 makes me also think of the maiden, the mother, and the crone, which this archetype is connected with, that particular trinity. And then that brings me to that last thought again, that transitions are going to be the thing with this particular guide. So think of this guide for you, Group 1, as a guardian for these times when you're moving between cycles and experiences. This guide is an escort when you are soldiering through transitory times, difficult moments, and they're there for support, even during celebratory experiences. Say you're somebody who's getting married, they'll be there. They are with you as you move toward these moments. They are by your side. They are perched on your shoulder. They are flying near you as you move through these transitions. And then they also remain as you begin to get established into the next phase beyond this experience, whatever that looks like for you. They have the crone's wisdom. They have their magic. And they've seen enough, they've experienced enough, and they've watched you grow on your journey long enough that their wisdom and presence is part of you. They've been with you since you were very young. For some of you, this is another thought. You may actually have 3 guides of this type, or this particular guide morphs through the maiden, mother, crone cycles as you do as well. They sort of match your energy. So for example, at the start of a career, at the start of some new hobby you're trying, and you're really going out there, putting yourself out on a limb, like on the Fool card here, you may have more of the maiden aspect with you. As you gain wisdom, as you gain experience, then the mother part of the guide steps in. And as you progress into expert status, so does this guide as the crone. Their level of expertise matches yours. And Group 1, this is a very significant bond. This is a very beautiful bond. And just talking about it now, I actually have chills. And I have this feeling in my heart chakra, which I associate with healing. So this guide likely does provide you with some healing. It's a very calming energy that flows into you when you're feeling stressed or frazzled. I almost could see them being nearby, and this just white light kind of flows into you. Oh, and I'm just realizing this is green too. Our little bird statue. So, all right. We have some animal guide cards, the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Guidebook. And the cards. And we're going to take a look at these to get a little more information about your guide. And so we have elk. And so we see a side profile of an elk with many, many antlers or branches. I don't know what you call that. And it looks like a sun in the background. very fiery. Again, we have the reds, the oranges, and the yellow. It almost looks like the antlers are on fire. And that's interesting because it's right underneath where the Ace of Pentacles is. And so we have that similar, excuse me, I need to take a drink of my tea here. Okay. So we have these similar kinds of colors happening right there. We also have a Luna moth. That's beautiful. And yeah, I'm going to set that down, just sketch that a little bit. And, oh, the phoenix. So we see wings and, again, red flames in the background, signifying what a phoenix would be. Interesting, too, because this has the symbol for spirit in this particular guide, or this deck, which is a circle, and it's right underneath the Fool card, which is 0. And I should say, too, going back to the Luna moth, it's green. It looks like a Luna moth, and it's just on a black background, and it's flying toward the light. Okay, so right off the bat, this makes me, again, want to talk about themes a little bit. And what I'm seeing between these 3 cards are, we have light, and then we also have transformation. So fire vibes for sure coming from the elk and the phoenix cards, which are flanking the Luna moth in the center. Fire is transformative, which brings me back to transitions and cycles that you're working through as your guide accompanies you on your journey. Additionally, moths and butterflies move through their own transformation in their growth cycles. And I do associate the Luna moth with guidance when times are dark. They are the light in the dark. Whereas the elk, and again, right underneath the pentacles, we have the same kind of like steady, earthy support during your transitions. They're bringing you stability. They're bringing you guidance. So yeah, almost a fatherly kind of energy here. And for the phoenix, because that's a spirit, considered one of the spirit animals in the animal spirit guidebook, like the elk is an earth creature and moth is associated with air. And so we go through the elements. Phoenix is of the spirit element. I'd actually want to pull from the book for this one. So I was feeling pulled too. So we're going to go to the spirit section. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to read you from this. So the phoenix is freedom from suffering and past karma, reincarnation. The phoenix represents the transformation of our past. It doesn't mean running from it, denying it, or burning bridges with rage. The phoenix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as the burning of impurities through practice and dedication. It says, I believe, tapas. I'm not sure, T-A-P-A-S. The essence of the phoenix is with us when we realize we have been suffering too long and something must change. We take a stand and decide to live consciously instead of being driven by the unconscious mind and its long list of fears and aversions. At that very moment, the spark of the phoenix is lit, and the great bird helps us burn through our baggage. We no longer run from who we are, what has happened to us, or what we have done. The stuckness and dead weight fall into the ashes, and a lightness and clarity emerge. As the stagnancy continues to smolder, the phoenix lifts our spirits up and up, and we begin to recognize ourselves again. We may catch a glimmer, that's my cat again, in our eye that wasn't there before. Look closely, it's a sign that the fire of transformation is upon your wings. Yeah, and it says over here too that the phoenix is associated, in this case, with the first chakra, that root chakra. So again, that red color we've been talking about. Yeah, the ascent of the phoenix begins from the root, and as the entanglement of karmas is slowly burned, it rises from the ash toward the navel center. Again and again, it makes this journey from first to third chakra. So it's hitting boom, 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 all 3 of those chakras. And it purifies our essence, freeing us from the past. I love that. Okay, so you can take in there whatever particular message might be there for you, but again, it has that transformative quality. And so I guess maybe in a sense, as we were talking about the maiden mother crone aspect as well, this is that transformative quality, being reborn and rising up from the ashes. And so your guide may be the phoenix, if you want to go, not with such a typical 3D kind of animal guide. All right. So we're going to look to see if there's any other messages for you specifically from this guide group 1. And this is from the Affirmators cards, the Affirmators deck. And so we have peacefulness. And I believe this one actually came out in a reading last week about why others love you. So if you haven't checked that video out yet, you may want to see about the messages there. Now I'm going to read this to you. It just says, I have a peaceful, tranquil, and untroubled heart. This is where I choose to spend my time. I can bring guests, but any person, thought, or event that brings drama or chaos is not invited. My heart is a special property, and I'm going to keep it that way so we can all keep enjoying it, and I can get my security deposit back. All right. So I see this peacefulness as a place you reside with your guide. And I almost see this little heart-shaped space as your space within this energy. It can also be a blessing of peace for you, or something that you're working toward creating more of in your life, and just a little nod. They're letting you know. And look, the elk is even looking up in the direction of where I placed this peacefulness card, which I should say is showing a little heart-shaped wagon, a little home. Yeah. And so maybe this is just something they're trying to kind of guide you toward, or help you find a little more peacefulness in your life. Then I also have the confidence card here. And so we see a little happy smiling refrigerator with a picture that has been stuck on it. And it says, in this moment, I take a step back and look at myself with the pride of a good mother. Oh, that's so interesting, because we had kind of fatherly energy here as well. I see an abundance of abilities and talents that show up all the time in big and little ways. If I could stick myself on a refrigerator, I would. I would invite all the neighbors over and say, look at that. Can you believe what an A+ that is? Also, this card is yellow. So we have more of that same kind of energy coming through with that same color as the solar plexus. So yeah, I think this card here, this perspective, reminds me again of the mothering aspect of the guide. They have immense pride about working with you and being with you, and they're proud of what you've done. And they want you to embrace this yellow solar plexus color, this confident energy. And for some of you, there may be an idea perhaps in some specific cases about maybe having to parent yourself a little bit, give yourself extra love and courage and affirmation, if that's not something that you had a lot of. Sometimes we need that. I think the most important thing to remember here is just that this guide is always with you, Group 1. You don't need to do anything to call them in, because this to me is a lifetime guide. They are always by your side. They are always in your heart space. So Group 1, this is an absolutely beautiful energy, and I would love to hear about your personal experience with this guide. Drop me a feather or a favorite winged creature emoji in the comment box below. Have you seen your guide before? How do you experience them? How do you interact with them? And if you were pulled to another pile, I'd say go ahead and check that one out as well, as we have a number of guides who are working with us at any given moment. So Group 1, thank you so much for being here with me today, and I look forward to working with you again in the future. Take care, friends. Welcome, Group 2. This is your animal guide reading. If you picked this little glass creature, you don't really have a name for it, then you are in the right place. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is looking at a particular animal guide for you, as much as we can nail that down. We're going to look into their type of unique guidance. That was my cat, by the way. He's being a little maniac right now. That might be a clue. So we'll be looking into their unique guidance, or those times in your life where they step in a bit closer to you, where you might need them a little bit more, have to rely on them. And we'll also look to see if there's anything distinctive about this guide, or any signs that they may be near, or that they may be, signs that they might use to communicate with you. So I'm just tripping over my words today, excuse me. And I want to point out too that this is kind of a unique little glass creatures we were talking about. Again, we said it was kind of like a snow cat. It's got like, would look like two snowballs on top of each other. It's see-through with these little bubble eyes and little cat ears. And my cat was just running by and making a little ruckus. So that may be something, but it also isn't quite anything that's real. So that might also be a clue. We will see as we get into things here. All right, and then the other thing that we'll be looking at too is we're going to try to toss in some advice for you that they may have at this particular time. So Group 2, we are going to start with your tarot cards, and then we also have some oracle cards to get going. So I'm going to move the pile here to the side, and we'll start looking at your tarot cards. These are from Krans, The Wild Unknown. And we're starting with the Wheel of Fortune. So it's almost like we're looking at the planet, or it looks like some kind of drumhead, and it's floating in space. At the top we have night, at the bottom there's day. I see stars in the background. We have a half of a moon, or part of a moon. The sun is down below at the bottom, and there is an owl that's perched on one of the branches that's coming off this circular drumhead. And then there's all kinds of rainbow ribbons that are coming off of the sides. We also have the Three of Wands. So these are branches that are sort of tied into a triangle shape, and there's all kinds of beautiful colors in the center of that triangle space. They're very rainbow. Looks like a portal. And then we also have the star, and this is interesting because we have the space kind of theme happening from the Wheel of Fortune. We've got the same kind of background. It's very dark with little stars getting lighter at the bottom. But then we have the same colors in the center in the star that's being featured as are in the colors of the Three of Wands. So that is very interesting to me. So rainbow, a lot of rainbow colors happening here. So already the colors on these cards are standing out to me in comparison to the first group. They were very, very different. So I feel like that may say something. All three, again, have rainbow colors on them, which may be a specific symbol for some of you. It may be about transition. It may be something else that's going on for you as well. You might just like those colors, or there may be another layer to it that we haven't come up with. So, and it could be because we have the space thing going on, and this color here on the Three of Wands does remind me of a portal. Part of what this guide does may have to do with your energy and helping you connect to your intuitive senses, helping you to see that it's okay to do that for some of you, perhaps. Learning to trust yourself, maybe to trust your intuition, and then also getting grounded. Is the Wheel of Fortune. I mean, oftentimes it can be a symbol like the earth. I really do feel, group 2, you have a very strong feeling to me of being perhaps very psychic or gifted intuitively. It wouldn't surprise me if you're very in tune with this, or you're a very sensitive person, a highly sensitive person, empathic, anything like that. And I think another part of this guide's gift to you is to also be in the moment. That's coming from the Wheel of Fortune card for me. To understand the cyclical nature of this card. You know that at times you may be on one side of the wheel where things are perhaps looking up, or the other side of the wheel. Things inevitably cycle around like Mother Earth cycles the sun. But I do think here this guide is also providing hope. They live in the star energy, this hopeful energy, this rainbow portal, which also looks like, again, that same kind of coloring on the Three of Wands. It's an energy of love and light and hope for the future. And when I typically have these cards popping up together, so I've actually gotten some of these before for myself in the past and with other clients, this trio together is always a sign for me that you may have had some tough times, group 2, and that this guide is here as a stable and constant companion during these moments, and that they will be there as you emerge into this portal of hopeful energy. You may be going through a transition. Oh, okay, this is a really specific message for some of you. I have goosebumps right now. It could be, I know our loved ones, and this isn't always a popular thing, our loved ones, we don't typically think of them as spirit guides, but they can step through and help. And for some of you, this may be an animal that you lost at some point, or was a pet of yours in the past, and they have transitioned. That could be what that rainbow is, the rainbow bridge. And so they also had a transition. Yeah. But they always will be that constant companion for you as you are going through tough times. And I think they're here too, just to help kind of elevate you, help you stay grounded, and help you kind of weather the ups and downs of things. to get you into this hopeful energy. Yeah, because I'm getting this otherworldliness to this guide with the Wheel of Fortune and the star. So for some too, it also could be an ET type animal, which is not something I would ordinarily say either. Some kind of animal that we don't really have a definition for or an understanding of. But again, if we want to be literal, we have an owl featured on the Wheel of Fortune card. So there could be an avian feel to this. It could be something else entirely, a mixture perhaps. It could be an avian type ET guide. And I'm actually hearing the word stardust right now. So that might be another clue. I feel like they're trying to emphasize the sameness between you two. We're all made of stardust, so are they, even if they seem very different right now, or of a concept that is difficult to wrap your mind around, or my mind around, as I'm trying to channel this. Okay, let's add in a little more. We have an archetype card, also from Kim Krans, The Wild Unknown. Yeah. We have the Bardo. This one's always a little interesting to talk about. These are circular cards, so we have a black background. In the center there is a ring, which looks like an iris and a pupil. And again, it's very multicolored, it's very pretty. The iris almost looks like the colors of labradorite. There's like this flash to it. And it's ringed by, looks like human skulls around the outside. So, the Bardo. The colors again, that's what's coming to me first here. That may reference your aura having a wide array of colors, or many of your chakras being quite open. And with that comes the phrase I'm hearing, get ready. So they may help prepare you or serve as a primary guide for opening your chakras up and communicating with other entities, as this card really does talk about communication to or from another space and abilities, perhaps for some of you, such as mediumship. It wouldn't surprise me. It could be this guide is a bit of a gatekeeper, or a watcher of portals or spaces like Bardo, or to the astral realm, the liminal, the divine realm. And I think they probably assist you in communication with other energies and help you focus that intuition. In fact, yeah, this again, it just pulling back to that idea of portals here. It's almost like the Wheel of Fortune card here is a springboard for what's happening over here. We're going to jump off of this. This is our grounding point, but we're getting launched into a whole nother way of being. Yeah. So this contrast we have with the colors of the eye and the images of the skull ringing it, the shape here. Notice we have a circle. It's mirrored right there on the Wheel of Fortune as well. So that is also something that may have to do with your guide. It does remind me of a snake kind of biting its own tail. So it's possible this is also some kind of reptile. Yeah, it's cycles. The beginning is the end is the beginning. What goes up must come down. Circles, ovals, cycles. Also, because this does look like an eye to me, your guide may have excellent vision, or they help you with your vision, your clarity, your planning. Again, getting you into these new spaces of thinking and being and hope, having hope. So this may be a guide that does walk you through hard times by helping you hold on to hope, to help you release any pain that you may be holding on to. And I see them helping you transmute this, to ground it into the earth or channel it into something creative. Projects, perhaps, movement. For some of you, like decorating your house in a certain way. I know that's really specific, but everybody's got something they're into, like cooking. Something that you can pour your energy into, something that's meaningful for you. And finding this rainbow beyond something hard. Finding beauty beyond grief, finding beauty beyond loss, where you can, where possible. Let's go a little further, and we have some animal guide cards from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Guide. Guidebook and cards. Haha. Okay, this is interesting because we have a nightingale. The nightingale is on the planet. And it's also singing up into space, it looks like. At least that's the way I see it. So it's almost like we have, again, this idea of something being in outer space. So it could go back again to that ET guide. There's just light coming out of their throat. And it's the planet that they're standing on. It's an egg, it's something, is bluish, blue-green. so throat chakra. We also have black egg. So this I would take as reptilian or as a bird. It has purple around it and black. And the way the egg is drawn, it does almost look like it has scales on the outside of it. Oh my gosh, and then we have the hummingbird. This is beautiful. So we have the silhouette of a hummingbird, and it's in mid-flight. It looks like it's a ruby-throated hummingbird, has a red throat, and all around it is this bright white light, but it's like it's illuminating a dark space, and there's this rainbow of colors coming around it. So we have that rainbow again. So 2 birds and an egg in the middle. That is really something. So bird may be the word for you, group 2. We do have 2 birds and an egg, and the nightingale card, again, it usually has to do with voice, and this could be part of that channeling meaning through pain that we were talking about before. This guide may help amplify your voice, to help you get in touch with it, to guide you to its center, to its core, and you can use this to share your thoughts and your creativity with others and the world, giving voice to things that maybe people don't ordinarily talk about. The black egg has a similar meaning about sharing our authentic voice with the world. And this is one I actually, because it's a spirit, excuse me, it's one of our spirit animals. As each of these animals from this book are usually associated with an element, like we have air and earth. We have 2 birds here, nightingale and hummingbird. Those are both air. The black egg is from the spirit section of the book, so I'm going to read that. So I like the meanings in here. I want to make sure I'm hitting everything. Okay, so take what resonates from this, but it says, black egg, speaking from an authentic voice and the truth. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies, not even white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in. Books draw us in. The concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I need to be true about myself? Or what do I know to be true about myself? And that's very different than what I said. What is true about the world? When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things others want to hear, so placating them, gossip, or we repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers, and it waits for us to reconnect. It is available at every moment, in every situation. It is the epicenter of truth and the birthplace of our voice. Okay. So I do feel, even with that, there was a little drawing there, it was like a spiral in the book, that, yeah, I almost see this floating around you. So it could be your guide looks like an egg. I don't know. You decide what makes sense for you, but I do feel this guide is helping you get settled into yourself and into your center. Yeah. And again, finding that voice, finding that truth and expressing it, no matter, it doesn't have to come out as spoken word. Again, it can come through art, it can come through making meaning in other ways, it can come through different actions, causes. Now, when this popped through, this is interesting. The hummingbird for me, I'm going to share a little side story if that's okay. It's a personal symbol for me for an ancestor of mine who had a very strong voice, but she didn't always use it. She kept it smothered and covered up and hidden. And when she passed, you didn't get that from her anymore. Now, to me, she feels free, she's flying fast, she's positive, and she certainly makes her presence known through, I'll run into hummingbirds like this, and I'll see them. Not every hummingbird is a symbol or a sign, but you feel something with it. There's something else in one of your intuitive senses that just knows. And there's just no more of that smothering, there's no more of that hiding. So I've come to associate hummingbirds with this person's presence. So group 2, hummingbirds or birds may mean something to you specifically. Or when you see a bird, such as the birds here, the hummingbird, the nightingale, the owl, these may be your signs, or just a little hello from this guide. You may also experience this guide as that feeling of hope. Going back to these rainbow colors. It's like a ray of sunshine piercing a dark cloud on a stormy day, and perhaps even a rainbow for some of you. Again, might be a symbol. I think we said that at the beginning. Others, you may just feel a push, a nudge, being drawn toward doing certain activities, or knowing that you need to get things done. I could definitely see this guide for some of you being that push, like getting a little kick in the butt. But there is a love here for you that is palpable, group 2. The message of the hummingbird may also be not to smother your creativity, but to explore it and keep learning in life and maintain the fires of curiosity and passion. There's a hint to explore nature here, and that may involve the grounding that we spoke of earlier. I think we talked about that up here with the Wheel of Fortune. You may find guidance in nature or inspiration in that place as well. And finally, just keep exploring your spirituality, group 2. This group has some definitive and very strong spiritual gifts. And this guide also wants you to explore that. And I think that will also strengthen your connection to our friend. So finally, we're going to take a look and see if there are any specific messages for you from this guide, group 2. So we're going to go to the Affirmators deck, and we have another bird with beauty. We have a peacock here. It says, I'm beautiful even when I don't think it. I'm beautiful even when I don't see it. I'm beautiful no matter how many people don't say it. I'm beautiful and I don't even care if you know it. I'm beautiful, which is why I don't have to try so hard all the time to show it. We're looking into a mirror. That feels important to me. And then we also have no need to do. And this says, it looks like a fox that is resting in a hammock. And it's being held up by 2 signs, and one sign's pointing to the left saying, do this, and the other one's pointing to the right, and it says, do that. And what this says is, I am exactly where I need to be, exactly when I need to be. There's nothing more I need to do. I mean, yes, there will always be laundry and taxes, but in terms of my life's path, I don't need to do anything because I am already here. I take a deep breath, relax, and trust, and then do laundry. So, yeah. Let's go back over to beauty. We have the peacock, and perhaps this is another part of that otherworldly quality I was picking up on earlier. Peacocks to me feel a little more exotic as compared to some of the birds that I see in the places I live. They're not part of the natural habitat here. So take the beauty message for you as it resonates. I have a feeling different aspects of this message will mean different things to different people who are watching. It could just be that little affirmation like, I'm watching over you, I'm guiding you. And again, that mirror, perhaps it's another sign too. When you look at the mirror, see me in the mirror. See me looking back at you. And see how much I love you and care about you and support you. And then with no need to do, I just love this one. And this can have to do with the idea of this guide helping you get settled into you, your core, and getting grounded and comfortable. Just take it easy if you've been pretty task-oriented lately. They're reminding me that life isn't as they're saying, a checklist. They're saying this with a smile too. So just remember that this guide is always with you, group 2. You don't need to do anything to call them in. I have a feeling they're there and they will continue to follow you through the rest of your life. They are always by your side. They are always in your heart space, and they'll always reside here and give you that hope. So group 2, this is just a beautiful energy, and I'd love to hear more about your personal experience with this guide. Drop me a star or maybe an egg emoji in the comment box below to let me know who you are. Have you seen this guide before? How do you experience them or interact with them? And if you were pulled to another pile, group 2, I'd say go ahead and check that out, as we have a number of guides who work with us at any given time. Group 2, thank you so much for being here with me today. I look forward to working with you again in the future. Take care, friends. Welcome, group 3. This is your animal guide reading. If you picked this rose quartz with the black bear silhouette on it, then you are in the right place. So today, what we're going to be doing is looking at one particular animal guide for you. We're going to try to pin them down a little bit, if at all possible, and look into their type of unique guidance or those times in your life that they step in a bit closer to you when you might need a little extra support. We'll also look to see if there's anything unique about this guide or any signs that they may be near to you or symbols that they may use to communicate with you. And then finally, we'll toss in some advice for you that they may have at this particular time. So we have tarot cards that we're working with today, as well as some oracle cards. And we're going to get started with the Wild Unknown Tarot. We have 3 cards to start with. Our first card is the 6 of Swords. So we've got a pile of 6 swords lying in dark. And the darkness extends all the way up to a rainbow, which is at the very top. And then above the rainbow is just clear skies. Oh, beautiful. We also have the Lovers. So it's another 6. That might mean something to you. We have what almost looks like a portal in the background. And coming from that are these different rays of light. We've got red and orange and yellow and green and blue. Just a beautiful rainbow of colors. And then we have a pair of Canada geese that are flying underneath that. So, Major Arcana, the Lovers. Let me move that a little closer. And then we have the 7 of Swords. All right, so 6 swords suspended above a fox. The fox is curled up around the 7th sword, and it looks like they're sleeping, but one eye is peeking out at you. Okay, very good. This is distinct. All the groups have been really different so far. All right. So first of all, we have a few things that are coming forward. This guide may be, because we have the Lovers card here, and we have the 6 of Swords, it may be a relationship guide or a guide that helps you with discernment and helps you to take action. They may provide insight when you need it in terms of the relationships within your life. And this may also include your relationship with yourself. This doesn't feel like it's totally externally focused, but I do think a large part of your relationship with this particular guide will concern your sovereignty and decision-making surrounding relationships with other people. So group 3, I'm getting a sharpness to this guide, not only because we have 2 swords cards, which has to do with mental clarity and directness, but I mean, we also have a fox, which we could think of traditionally we may think of a fox as being clever or sharp or sly. So this guide does have this clarity about them, they have a directness about them, but they also have this quality to them that is interestingly humorous. It's funny. They, I think, find humor in places that we may not ordinarily. They may provide a little boost of humor to you at times that may feel odd or just out of place. And I'm actually thinking about the geese right here on the Lovers card. So I don't know if you know what that sounds like, a Canada goose when they're in flight. It's just, yeah, it's this goofy honking noise, but it could almost sound like laughter. It reminds me of the times that you get giggles when you're not supposed to, like something strikes you as funny when you're sitting in church, particularly when you're younger. I mean, although it happens to adults too, and you can't hold in the laughter. And so I feel like this energy may actually ripple from them and it can be a little infectious, and it may actually, you may pass it on to other people. They feel also very incredibly fond of you, and there's a lot of pride in the little moments and the growth that you're making on this journey. They do feel very, very much older than you, ancient by comparison to you. So it does feel like a guide that's been with you for some time. I don't think since birth, but I think since you started having more interactions with peers, perhaps in school when you were young, and then this energy has only ramped up since then. So again, it's about that external kind of relationship growth that they're going to be a little more focused on with you. And if we want literal interpretations right now, we could say that this is a fox. They may look like a fox, they may look like a goose or some kind of avian. All right, so I think that's all I'm getting for this part of it. Just that mental clarity, sovereignty, moving on from relationships, and then there's a goofy humor to them a little bit too, which is nice. That balances out, I think, more of the serious aspects to them, because there is also this fierceness to them as well, and a protectiveness towards you that I'm getting with that fox on the Seven of Swords. All right, we're going to look at an archetype card from the Wild Unknown Archetype deck. And all right, the siren. Interesting. So we may have some other kind of aquatic creature as well. Maybe it's a mermaid. Could be for some of you. Yeah. So this guide may be at home in the sea, or they're at home with water, which does reinforce the idea that the guide is focused on helping you with relationships and communication, as water is associated with emotions. Now, here, the tail, it's coming this way, right? It's moving away from whatever this is, a garnet or ruby. It's a very similar energy to me to the Six of Swords, and that this guide may help get you into your own guidance channel so you can make informed decisions that are good for you. It's a reminder that all that glitters isn't gold. Only you know what's right for you, and this guide will help you get yourself into the proper alignment to make decisions that are right for you. So make no mistake, this isn't divine intervention. This is about you doing what is in your best interest, discovering the ruby in the center of your heart. And as I say this, I see that you have gotten stronger with time, and that's where I'm getting that pride feeling again. Like there's like this little bark of laughter that a fox might make. They're happy that you're picking up what they're putting down. And I hear that your antenna is sharp, and that the other word is clear, is what's coming through. The siren card is typically about sensuality and seduction. You know, an emphasis of the outer appearance. And so outer appearance, that may actually be part of this lesson for you, not to get spirited off by your own external wants or others. The lesson may be about you receiving attention from other people that has to do with how you look or what people are projecting onto you. And the reminder is to treat yourself with TLC and be discerning about who you let into your life. Again, all that glitters isn't gold. And that's where I'm feeling this bit of defensive and protective energy towards you here. Right here, being drawn back to this fox. You're sleeping with one eye open. This guide is definitely watching out for you, and they only want the best for you, group 3. And perhaps this is because this is the siren card and we're thinking of water, but I'm seeing you taking a salt bath or using salt water to scrub off others' negative energy. You can also visualize yourself just swimming in a pristine lake, the ocean, or standing under a healing waterfall. So you don't actually have to get into the water to do this. This may help you to rest into your energy, to settle into it and not carry around other people's astral debris. So you may be somebody who is highly sensitive or empathic, and this may just be a little hint about something that you can do to help yourself. All right. I'll see if there's anything else that pops through in a moment. There may be some other message, but I'm not getting it directly here. So we're going to look at the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit cards and see what messages that we have here. Beautiful. So we have lion. We're getting all different kinds of animals. Love that. So we have a profile of a lion looking over to the right. And they look very realistic. Their background is mostly lower chakra colors like red, orange, yellow. We have the golden egg. So this would be considered a spirit card. And so we have a nest, and there is a golden egg lying in it with kinds of interesting triangle patterns that have been etched into its surface. And then we also have, lion and lamb. What do we say? Like March goes in like a lion and out like a lamb. We're filming during March right now. And so the background of this almost looks like a diamond of different colors that are coming outward, and it's mostly greens and blues as we get to the outside, but we have a little bit of red and yellow and purple as well in the middle, and the lamb is looking directly at us. Interesting. I feel bad I don't want to cover up the fox. Okay, can we still see everybody there? Yeah. So the lion and the lamb here, to me, they're flanking or protecting this golden egg. And what's interesting here, too, if I pull this up, the siren here is swimming away from the glittery ruby toward the golden egg, toward the center of their heart, of our heart. And so this to me is that discernment we're speaking of. It's golden, it's yellow. We're thinking of the solar plexus chakra, you know, our sovereignty, how we're presenting in the world. Are we sitting in our own truth? So the lion is fierce and protective, while the lamb is reminding you of starting fresh and beginning new cycles. It's almost like we move through this protective period with a lion. We retreat into ourselves to recharge our batteries and to sit with gratitude and love here with the golden egg. And then we emerge ready to begin again. And I think this is all part of your Spirit Guides Magic Group 3. Now, if we want to go back and just again talk literal animals, we have geese, the fox, some kind of aquatic animal, a mermaid, lion, and a lamb. So we've got 3 mammals, we've got a goose and something from the earth's water. So I'd say pick what resonates the most for you. And again, like we had a bear, that's what came up. That's what I grabbed on our rock at the beginning. So I would say lean into the energy of animals that feel both fierce and then also playful or protective and playful. That's really what I think is coming through here. You know, bears and otters come to mind for me specifically. That's just where my mind goes, living in North America. But you know, it's all about what resonates for you and perhaps about where you live, or if you are thinking of something a little more mystical, you know, maybe you are going the siren or mermaid route. Above all, remember that your heart here, this golden egg in the nest here. And again, this is interesting because it's coming straight down from the geese at the top here. To me, it's in a nest, you know, so it's like, it's part of the gift that they have for you. You know, treasure this, treasure your heart, treasure yourself, because you're beautiful, you're powerful, you're knowledgeable, and this guide wants you. They want you to have more of that for you. Treasure yourself more than you already do, and extend any gratitude that you feel towards others and the universe. Turn it inward. Give that gratitude for yourself. Appreciate yourself on the soul level. Know your beauty just for being you. And their message above all else is just make sure you're taking care of yourself as you're on this journey. They're not going anywhere, but they would like to see you appreciating you a little bit more. Yeah, just again, discernment. They're helping you with clarity. They're helping you move on from situations or to take those steps from things that maybe aren't suiting you anymore. You're leaving things behind and you're moving more into your own power. That's what this design feels like on top of the lamb for me. All right, so we're going to see if there are any specific messages for you from this guide. Group 3. We have the Affirmators cards. And we have authenticity. So we have a little typewriter that's holding a megaphone and it's talking. It says, authenticity is the name of the game. Whatever comes up, I'll feel it. Whatever needs to be said, I'll say it. Whoever doesn't get it, doesn't have to get it. But at least they know it because I've said it. And that's way better than leaving a passive-aggressive note about it. It reminds me of those times that people, you know, in workplaces sometimes leave little notes about the microwave being dirty, or they put something on the fridge instead of just like coming out and saying things. And then we have good things to come, and it looks like we have the silhouette of a car that's wrapped up, and it looks like it's in wrapping paper that's little eyeballs all over it, and there's a big black ribbon around it. There are so many amazing gifts coming my way. I can't see them now because I respect the general convention of not peeking under wrapping paper, but they will show up when the time is just right, and that's when I'll remember how much fun it is to be surprised. I want to point out too that the background of this is yellow, again, like our solar plexus chakra. So that might be part of their gift to you. What's interesting here is like the little megaphone and the typewriters on the left, and it looks like it's talking all the way over to our other card here. Speaking truth, speaking from a place of authenticity. Moving across all the energies here till we get settled into that solar plexus energy. So Yeah, authenticity to me reminds me of this guide encouraging you to move towards your likes, move in general, know what feels right to you. And I so think this is them giving you that courage to speak up and to sit on the throne of your own heart. And again, the good things to come card for me emphasizes playfulness. It emphasizes allowing, enjoying the moment and not trying to control or hold on to things too much, just enjoying what the universe offers. And probably not to have fear. I am getting that there might be some fear here as I'm looking back at the Six of Swords. You know, there may have been some situations that you've had to leave behind, but just know that they are here watching out for you, and there is growth as you move through things and toward, you know, what is right for you, towards your own heart and towards you, being more open with others. It's okay. They have your back. So this guide's always with you, group 3. I don't feel that you need to do anything special to call them in. I think I've been saying this for most of the guides so far. They've all felt like steady guides. I do think they're here especially when it comes to people in your life, no matter if the interactions are in person, over the phone, or even online. They're kind of there in the background. So group 3, I love this energy, and I'd love to hear about your personal experience with this guide. So drop me a favorite animal emoji in the comment box below if you think you know what it is. Maybe, you know, a mermaid if you feel like it. Have you seen your guide before? How do you experience them? How do you interact with them? And if you were pulled to another pile, go ahead and check that out, as we have a number of guides who work with us at any given time. Group 3, I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you again in the future. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. Hi, group 4. Welcome to your animal guide reading. If you picked our little metal mouse, then this is your reading today. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be looking at one particular animal guide for you. We're going to look into their type of unique guidance, or those particular times in your life when they may step in a bit closer to you for support. We'll also look to see if there's anything unique about this guide, if possible, or any signs that they may be near or that they may use to communicate with you. And then finally, we'll toss in some advice for you that they may have at this particular time. So group 4, it's tarot time. We're going to take a look at your cards. We have tarot to begin with, and then we also have some oracle cards as well. We're working with Kim Krans and the Wild Unknown today. And our first card here is the Hanged Man. Got a bat on there. Very nice. The Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands, we have a rainbow gradient background, and then there are 2 wands, and they almost look like they're being placed that there's perspective and they're going off. It reminds me of like the side of a trail or railroad tracks going into the distance. This is interesting. So the Hanged Man is upside down, and you know, we have this little bat here, and it's got red eyes and it's looking at us. And then we also have the what is this, the 8 of Swords here, and we have 3 swords on the bottom left of the card, 4 swords on the right, and then the 8th sword is suspended across the top, and there is a butterfly that is ready to emerge from its cocoon, and it's hanging from that sword. It looks like a monarch. It has those kind of orangey colors there. So we have 2 suspended creatures, and they're both flying creatures, so that may mean something for some of you. And they are flanking that 2 that's in the center, the Two of Wands again. So group 4, I do feel that this guide would be assisting you with decision making. The Hanged Man here and the 8 of Swords both speak to this pause before making a decision, while the Two of Wands in the middle to me shows a beautiful path forward that suggests smooth sailing and sunshine and easy days ahead. Even if times are a bit tough right now, or from time to time as they can be in life, this guide is here with you during this particular time. And again, because we have these 2 creatures with wings, this could be a type of animal that flies, or at the least helps you to spread your wings, especially during times where you may feel a little bit more constricted. Because of the nature of the Hanged Man, and then what we have over here also with that 8 of Swords, I feel this guide would urge you to take a time out when necessary. but they also give you that nudge when it's time to move forward. And it feels like a very gentle energy, a very kind energy, and filled to the brim with love. This indeed almost feels, if I'm looking over all of the groups we've done so far, this one is the most gentle. The numbers 2 or 8 may be important to you, or could be a sign that your guide is nearby. Repeating variations on these numbers would be included in that, so multiple 2s, multiple 8s. And looking into the eyes of our bat right here, I am getting comfort. Like, this is someone who sees you, they get you. Even if you're putting on airs or you have to put on a mask for other people, sometimes we have to. They get you. They're there for you. Okay, let's pop into our Archetype Oracle card to get a bit more information about this particular guide. And so our Archetype card today is the Stone. And so we have a gray background with a triangle in the middle of that, and inside the triangle is a square, and inside the square is a circle, and inside that is our stone, which has lots of different little colors on it. And it looks like part of an eye kind of peeking from that stone. And the gray that it's on, it does remind me of like a river rock or something kind of plain that you might find. So a stone itself could be another sign from this guide for some of you. River stones, beach glass, a shell washed up in the sand, just these small trinkets, these small gifts from Mother Nature that you run across on your day-to-day. You might just be out on a walk and you find something that's washed up. This also is reminding me to take a pause and just to enjoy the ordinary. Just because a rock is gray, you know, doesn't mean that it doesn't have an interesting story to it or an energy to it. There may be a message here, particularly with the Hanged Man. Just stop and enjoy your journey. And these small tokens that you run across are little, it's like a little trail. It's a trail of breadcrumbs. They're just little reminders of this guide and this particular message. Just take it easy. And another interpretation might be about just power in the ordinary and the everyday. Not everything in our lives needs to be huge. It doesn't always need to be big. Not everything has to have meaning. And a lot of us like to do that. And it might just be me or people that are overthinkers or some folks that are, you know, into tarot or other things. Sometimes we do try to look at the symbolism and everything because your brain is kind of used to doing that. And sometimes there are legit messages in, you know, the things that we're finding, but not everything needs to be that way. Sometimes the most beautiful and memorable moments are when we're just present and we're able to enjoy what's happening around us. So a pebble that we find on the beach may not be as magical, you know, as running across a piece of fluorescent euperlite or labradorite, for example, but that doesn't mean that these moments aren't magic or that rock isn't there, you know, just to be enjoyed. The ordinary can be rather extraordinary, and this guide is, it's all about taking that rest, that pause, and enjoying what's around you before diving into the next big thing. It's almost like this guide's just like, hey, we're going to have a timeout together. We're just going to pause and just enjoy things before we have to jump onto the next item on our to-do list. With this is the message of gratitude, gratitude for all things. Sitting in the feeling of love, gratitude, and welcoming is a perfect recipe for better connection with the guides in our lives. Inner guidance is what the Eight of Swords is all about. Often when we see the Eight of Swords, it reminds us of those tough moments in life where we're so enmeshed in worry and strife in what is going on around us that we can't see the forest for the trees. This is about taking that breather and going within and tuning into our own compass and the messages of this particular guide to see what they have to share with us. And perhaps, you know, a simple gift from Mother Nature is a nice reminder to help us get in alignment with this energy of gratitude and the guidance then that follows. Now, group 4, this guide doesn't feel like one who's going to be swooping in as any kind of interventionist. As you can see, both the butterfly here and the Hanged Man, the bat, they're closed up, they're resting at that moment. This is all about personal freedom and choice and sovereignty. Again, they have this gentle energy around them. They're here to guide, and they have this very just feeling of allowing. Their presence just allows. It's there, and it's beautiful, and it feels magical and a little sparkly to me, but there is a gentleness to it, and perhaps that's even why was drawn to the mouse for this particular one. I'm just thinking of something that, you know, you might not always notice, but it's definitely there. So it may require a little bit of meditation or stillness to tune into and feel the sweet energy that accompanies this particular guide. Going on walks, spending time outside when possible is a good way to quiet the mind, and getting in tune with this particular guide. And if you can meditate outside, this will also work. But again, not necessary, just some particular ideas for you. I'd like to look at the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit cards to get any further ideas or clues about this particular guide. So we have 3 cards that we're going to be looking at from there. Ooh, horse. And so we're looking at just the head of the horse a little bit. Its mane is very luxurious. It's got braids in it. And there's a little crescent moon on the forehead that's yellow. And the horse is staring right at us. That's intense. We have an intense gaze, and it's being placed right underneath the hanged man. So we have that bat that's looking straight at us, and same with the horse. Stingray. These are really different cards than any of the other groups I've gotten. So this isn't an underwater kind of thing. We're just seeing some lines that are moving toward the middle from the diagonal, and then the stingray is layered on top of that, like it's drawn in ink, and then it looks like its chakras going from its tail all the way up to its crown are on the back, and they're red, all lit up. And it's kind of a similar shape to the triangle that's on the stone card above that, and then also the 2 of Wands above that also has a triangular kind of shape. Oh my gosh, and then we have the unicorn. So this is one of the spirit animals from this deck. And it's a side profile, so we're seeing a white unicorn on a black background, but it looks like it's the moon. There's this bubble of color around it in the background. It has craters, so I'm assuming that's the moon. And then the horn is just jutting up, like all the way to the corner. It's almost pointing up toward the hanged man as I put it down. So again, we have the sharpness because we do have the 8 of Swords right above it. So the sharpness of the horn, the sharpness of the swords. Very cool. Interesting. So group 4, we've got our 2, what do you say, equine animals, and an aquatic animal as well. And with this stone, I was getting more beachy vibes, like things washed up by the water, the lake, the ocean. So this guide, if we want to take things literally, maybe it is a stingray for some of you, and for others it would be more about just an aquatic connection of some kind. And I am actually being told to talk about, I think it was group 3, the last group. They also had an aquatic kind of thing happening, so if you felt pulled to that, I would go back and check that one out. So this is definitely a unique animal guide group 4, considering that we've got a bat, a butterfly, a horse, a stingray, and a unicorn. This energy is very, very different from our prior groups, and this animal may be quite unique for some of you. The horse energy, out of all of them, this one is, and the bat too, maybe it's the direct eyes, but the horse feels very communicative for me. Oh, and I'm just realizing the moon connection between the unicorn and the horse as well. So for those of you that are getting more of a chattier vibe from this guide, it's likely that the guide may be the horse or the unicorn, perhaps the bat. Yeah. If it feels like the horse, but it feels a little more gentle, I would go with unicorn. The unicorn has a little more of a gentle vibe. Now, what's cool here is we have both these horse type cards. The horse and the unicorn are flanking the stingray in the middle, which emphasizes the chakras with the rainbow column of light going up the center. So we also have this up above. We've got the 2 flying creatures that are flanking this 2 of Wands, which similarly, as we talked about before, has this rainbow kind of energy to it as well. So that's interesting. Some parallels happening here with color, and then also with our animal types. So This path that's featured on the Two of Wands may be an internal exploration of yourself or an external exploration of you within the world, perhaps a little bit of both. And this guide, I see you as, or them as sheltering you a little bit, surrounding you with love and light before encouraging you to make those next few steps for whatever decision it is that you're making. There's that pause. The bubble back here, the moon around the unicorn, reminds me of how they shelter you and how they share a bit of their energy as you consider options and make your way along this particular path. This guide really only wants the best for you, and when you need to make a bigger decision, know that you can stop, you can tune in, and get a little bit of this protective and healing energy before you move forward. They are always, always by your side. I'm not getting information about them being a newer or an older guide. I think that it is going to be very dependent on the person watching this. So for some of you, this guide may be one that's stepped in a little more recently, or you're feeling them more recently. For others of you, this guide has been with you for a very long time. Okay, let's see if we have any messages for you from this particular guide, group 4. They're Affirmators cards. Ideal partnership. I'm a rare and precious find, and my brilliance will be reflected back to me when I'm paired with a true match. My ideal partnerships and working relationships are easy and free-flowing. I deserve greatness because I am greatness. And to paraphrase Rumi, what I'm looking for is also looking for me. In fact, he or she may be paraphrasing Rumi right now. And so on this, it looks like we have Merlot, and we have some cheese. And it looks like the Merlot might be proposing to the cheese. There's a little diamond ring in their hand. And our other card is no judgment. So we have a raccoon that's wearing a sweater and pants, or it's a lemur, I can't tell. There's a striped tail, so it's probably a lemur. And there's a sign up above that says, welcome to Joyville. No judgment says, I release myself from any and all judgments. I find my inner critic, call it into my office, and tell it to take a vacation. As it leaves the room, I let out a sigh and begin to enjoy the joy of simply being. Who hired that guy anyway? Oh, I love that. Cheeky, cheeky. So, ideal partnership, I feel, is talking about your relationships with this guide for some of you. That you two work really well together. You're meant to work together. And then for others, it could be learning about trusting yourself and how you are your own best partner. And for others still, it can be about sitting in your joy and your power and remembering the gift that you are in all your partnerships. This guide wants you to remember how wonderful you truly are, no matter how that card resonates for you. And then the message with no judgment, I'm going to leave this one to you, group 4. I would take this how it lies. I'm getting a bit of an idea for some of you that perhaps this guide helps you make decisions if you get a bit paralyzed from judging yourself. The most important thing to remember, though, going forward, group 4, is that this guide is always with you. You don't need to do anything to call them in. They're always by your side, and they're helping you along your journey. And that journey is going to be very unique depending on who you are. All right, so group 4. This is a beautiful and unique energy, and I'd love to hear about your personal experience with this guide. Drop me a unicorn emoji in the comment box below. Have you seen your guide before? How do you experience them or interact with them? Again, that could be very, very different depending on who this is. We talked about numbers as symbols, maybe some of these colors we're seeing, or these particular animals might stand out for some of you, or you might just feel them. You might feel a little clairsentient kind of energy with them. If you were pulled to another pile, go ahead and check that one out, as we have a number of guides who work with us at any given time. But group 4, thank you so much for being here with me today. I look forward to working with you again in the future. Take care, my friends.